What does your childhood have to do with the relationship problems you're experiencing as an adult? The answer could be everything, and this video will show you exactly why. We'll walk through how the unmet emotional needs and core wounds we pick up in childhood may be unconsciously running your life and sabotaging your relationships from the shadows. And make sure to watch until the end, because I'm also going to show you the one simple practice that helped me work through those unconscious coping mechanisms, so I could finally break the cycle and feel safe to be myself in my relationships. Let's jump in. The deepest need we all have in relationships is to feel safe and secure enough to be ourselves and explore our own expression and inner growth without losing the connection and support from the people we care about. This is true in adulthood, but it is much more pronounced in childhood. Children know that they are dependent on their parents for survival, so they will do whatever they need to in order to maintain that bond and connection. For better or worse, that is when we learn what relationships and love are supposed to look like. Children lack the emotional maturity to see that their parents' actions have nothing to do with them. If a parent is unable to meet our needs as a child, we think that is our fault, and we develop ways to cope with that trauma. Not everyone will have unmet physical needs in the developed world, but unfortunately, nearly all of us grew up with unmet emotional needs. Let's go through some examples I borrowed from Nicole LePera's book, How to Do the Work, of what these unmet childhood needs might have looked like, as well as common ways we might cope with that trauma as an adult. Maybe your parents had very clear and narrow ideas for what they wanted from you as you were growing up. You weren't so much an individual with your own curiosities, passions, and ideas, but an extension of them that they tried to shape in their image. They would reward you if you stayed within the accepted parameters, but ignore, dismiss, or punish you whenever you strayed. They also were unable to tune into and help you regulate your emotions due to their own issues and unresolved traumas. They may have regularly dismissed, invalidated, or minimized your experience. Your parents didn't model healthy boundaries or healthy ways to express yourself. Instead, they would regularly violate your sense of self and express their emotional needs through manipulation. Whenever you strayed from what was acceptable, you experienced the silent treatment, raging, guilting, shaming, or blaming from your parents. You internalized that you were responsible for managing your parents' emotions. If they noticed you trying to create distance from them in order to find who you were outside of their influence, they put a stop to it by repeating all the sacrifices they've made for you and refusing to apologize or take responsibility for their actions or their role in conflicts. Because of all this, you learned early that certain behaviors or emotions weren't acceptable, and you learned to suppress, dismiss, or minimize those impulses within yourself in order to maintain that bond with the people you depended on for survival. In adulthood, you may never feel truly safe or secure to be who you really are, or you may be unsure what you believe, how you feel, or what you're interested in. You may be consumed with how you measure up to others and feel unworthy or unlovable in the absence of external validation, or you may try to fly under the radar as much as possible, hiding any parts of yourself that you worry others will deem as undesirable. Maybe you self-isolate and consider yourself hyper-independent, walling yourself off from any type of connection to or support from others because you learned that you could only depend on yourself. Or you may feel chronically in debt to others and feel like you constantly have to prove yourself, feeling guilty or selfish for having any needs at all. You may also hold grudges or harbor resentment. You try your best to avoid any conflict or disagreement in relationships. You may often feel on edge or unsure of the intentions or actions of those around you. You may try to go with the flow or pretend like everything is okay when dealing with a stressful or upsetting situation. You also try to anticipate the needs, feelings, or actions of others and take responsibility for how they feel. And you find yourself constantly over-explaining or defending your thoughts, feelings, or choices to others. If you're anything like me, you may have resonated with quite a few of these childhood experiences, as well as noticed some of these unconscious coping mechanisms in yourself as an adult. This is considered normal in our society, but it doesn't have to be. Since these scripts and stories are functioning subconsciously, that's also where the solution is. We can't relieve our suffering or change our behavior simply by focusing on the conscious mind. We must work on shifting the way we instinctively think, feel, and act by going to the source. Our subconscious uses our body sensations to interpret how we feel by recalling the emotional experiences that accompanied similar sensations in the past. We need to systematically retrain our bodies to create new associations, to reconnect to our being and our emotions, and to build the sense of safety and security within ourselves that we never had as children, so we can securely connect with others in an open, empathic, and authentic way. The first step is reconnecting with the body. We tend to view the body as a vessel to carry our mind around, but there's a lot more going on within us than just what's happening within the mind. True emotional safety and security begins in our body. Whenever emotions arise in an immature, over-the-top, or irrational way, that is a sign that a hurt part of us is lashing out from the shadows. This is an opportunity to grow. As Peter Levine tells us, we can use those opportunities to learn how to listen to the unspoken voice of the body. The areas where there's tension, tightness, numbness, or deadness within the body are signposts to blocked sensations. Simply tapping into those sensations allows the body to move through the suppressed survival emotions at its own pace without us becoming overwhelmed. I recommend reading more of Levine's work for a deeper dive on this, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming video where I'll outline his somatic healing methodology step by step. If we can show our body that we are safe and that it doesn't have to be in self-protective mode anymore, our focus can shift away from our own safety and well-being, and we can be open to that deep connection we crave from others. We learn not to take others' emotional states personally, which allows us to be empathic and responsive to their experience. We are able to tune in to what they're really saying, respond to their cues, and communicate in a way that brings us closer together instead of pushing us further apart. Journaling has been the one thing that's helped me the most for working through this process. I've added the exact prompts I use every day below the like button if you'd like to grab those for yourself. Just 5 to 10 minutes a day using those prompts will result in drastic change and help you begin to explore your subconscious mind and address your unmet emotional needs. You will start to become aware of the unconscious patterns you've brought into adulthood based on childhood conditioning. These conditioned selves are not us. They're roles we play in our relationships based on the ways we learn to feel safe in childhood. We will talk more about conditioned selves and the internal family systems model in an upcoming video. Learning to witness these conditioned selves by tapping into bodily sensations and putting words to our inner experience through journaling can help us break free of those reactive patterns and habitual ruts. It helps us make decisions based on reality instead of on an old script we've been carrying around our entire lives. This work is the only thing that has helped me create that sense of separation so I can choose to act differently in the present moment. The old scripts still come up, but at least now I'm able to more consistently catch when they do. And instead of getting swept away by my thoughts and emotions, I can cultivate that space and realize that perhaps what I'm feeling isn't a product of the present moment, but simply a mental construct driven by my past. I can honor my needs and give that wounded inner child the compassion, care, and empathy it never received. This process has helped me feel safe enough within my own being to finally give myself permission to be myself and to lean into what I'm most passionate about, regardless of what anyone else thinks. The only thing that's required is time looking inward, consciously cultivating a safe space to witness what arises within you every day. This will help you unpack the unconscious habits and coping mechanisms and teach you how to break the cycle of making the same mistakes in your relationships and create the sense of safety and security you've been craving all along. Make sure to grab those prompts in the description so you can get started right away. And if you'd like a physical journal with all the prompts I use neatly laid out for you, as well as instructions for how to approach each one, I've also added a link for that below. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And make sure to check the description for more resources. Until next time, safe travels.